Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of HCTalk. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and my two co-partners in crime are Andy Ortiz. Still, I made a mistake last week for the duration. A USD 373 school board member, as I stand corrected. Local entrepreneur and businessman. And we have Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, delivering news to the Harvey County and Newton population for a very long time as the editor of the Kansan paper.
Yeah,
How are you guys doing
editor
today?
for like 12 years and overall close to 30.
Yep. Kicking ass and
I'm
taking
tired
names for
but
30 years.
You know what? Today I'm tired because I had an insomnia attack last night.
Yeah.
Some crap got stirred yesterday and I didn't sleep.
Well, I heard it was a spicy commission meeting for multiple reasons.
There was just a lot on the agenda. We were there for, I don't know. You mean I'm not still there? I mean, it's what it felt like.
How long are those meetings usually? Ballpark.
It just depends on the agenda.
I know I've been to a couple, but it's been a while.
The shortest I've seen is we had a 30-minute one at one time, but average hour and a half, I would say.
I used to go to about one every quarter, but since I've been serving, I stopped going even to the city. I used to go to the city like maybe once a month, and for sure I'd watch at least 2 or 3, while I was doing stuff around the house. And just because of my responsibilities the last 6 years, I haven't been to very many. So I'm looking forward to jumping back in and checking in and figuring out what people are doing.
If you want to go to meetings, okay, so get on the mailing list.
Okay.
Right? Because, wow, I've been all up on legal notices lately, right? Doing a lot of work on legal notices.
Right.
This, that, and the other thing. Legal notice of a meeting in Kansas, I'm telling you what. If there's a statute or law in the world of public information we need to take a look at, that's one.
Senator Owens, did you hear that?
Because
low-hanging fruit, brother.
This is what constitutes a legal notice of meeting, right? So for the Board of Education,
yeah,
or for the city, or for the county, they must notify any and all persons who have requested said notification. They don't have to notify the newspaper or the local TV station or radio station or news aggregator or website, or they don't have to post it on social. They don't have to post it on their website. They just have to notice those persons who have requested the notice be sent to them.
Yeah, but they were wanting to a while back here. Now, no deal. It wasn't only a couple years ago.
Over and over again, the legislature has
and they're still trying to do that.
Stuff.
They're still trying to, and I'm totally against this because it's not transparency in government. They want to, or at least in the past had wanted to, change the law to say that these governmental entities could post legal notices on their own websites, on their own mode of operating, and then not require them to do anything.
Yes. So the legislature has, without using this language, said that they want local governmental agencies, and the legislature included in that, to have total control of all of their information.
Trust me, I'm government. And I know best. And I'm
that
here
is
to tell you
that is the ethical question.
Me.
That is the ethical thing that I have brought up.
Yeah, you need to trust me.
Every time this comes up in the legislature.
Anytime the government says, "Just trust me," I've got your best interest at heart.
Can I take a rabbit trail real quick?
Yeah.
Wow, that was great information.
We kind of went, but that's all right.
In my experience, having been on the other side of that, I actually heavily trust staff. I very rarely trust the people that make staff make calls like that and say, "Trust me," through a mediator, but they don't have the balls to be the one out front to take the hit.
Good call. I'll clarify what I'm saying here. I was speaking of,
it's easier to throw people under the bus, especially if you're an elected person.
Yes.
Because trust me, I know things you don't.
Yeah.
The innuendos and the BS in the background is what gets good people in trouble sometimes. And if you have weak leadership, you'll see that more times than not, especially doomsday type people that are in it always looking to run off of fear or run off of the little 10% nuance here that they got to keep in their hip pocket that they know sounds crazy if they say it out loud, but they'll still carry that with a small group of supporters. And a lot of times they're even BSing their supporters, but they'll make staff and executives do really ridiculous things when the executives really don't want to do it. And a lot of them want to try to protect the community and know what's wrong, but they're kind of forced to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just a bad place to be for people that carry that weight, that work in those jobs, because my world and private equity and angel investing and startups, and I mean, it's just it's a different world, right? And to have a job where you're an executive for a school district, a county, or the city, I have a whole, after these last 6 years, different perspective and amount of respect for those people, from the communications directors to the people who run the show to the finance department, and what they're asked and tasked to do every day for their greater good of the whole. And most of them, and I will say that 90% of them, are warriors for us. But you get these elected people that get in there with ideas and no experience, and people that haven't built a damn thing in their life other than sow distrust, and it gets real interesting. That's why I hate the D and the R conversation.
Yes.
But you can't not say who you are when you come to the table. That's why I like this discussion coming.
So here's, we do.
Yeah. And we don't give a shit what you think of us, by the way. I'm just going to say not even this much.
Not even this
much. Say what you want to say. I don't care.
Throw just a little.
I don't.
Cinnamon?
I guess spice. The word might be advice.
So a little bit of sriracha sauce on there.
I want to throw a little advice to our elected officials in our Newton community. Okay.
Harvey County community.
Well,
Harvey County. I mean, we got to really
what I'm about to say is this. We are at an incredibly interesting point in our history.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we're in an incredibly interesting point in our history, and I'm looking at you because you've heard a version of this already. You as an elected official are surrounded by staff and members of the media who have been doing this a hell of a lot longer than you have. I mean, seriously.
We've seen people come and people go.
Exactly.
And you think you're introducing something new, and you think you're smooth and smart and all this, and the reality is like, I've already saw this play out. I don't know how many
there
times.
Are people
call it right then and there in the beginning
who over the course of the next several years, they're gonna walk into these positions. They're gonna be new. They are gonna have a lot to learn. We've had this going. This goes on every election. And they want to stir the pot, and they want to stir it either using people or because of people that are going to be there when you're gone. They were there before you even considered doing this, and they're going to be there when you're gone. Unless
of course,
and
Chad.
And the proper way to handle that is give a little respect.
Well, unless of course,
I mean, come on.
Unless of course you're the elected official and you make a real big boo-boo that's going to cost you an election, or so you perceive might cost you an election with everything you're doing, and then the fall person then becomes some city staff, some county staff, because they're the issue. I am showing leadership by my election and political position, and they're to blame, even though you're to blame.
By the way, leadership and authority are different things. Your election grants you authority.
Bad elected officials run off good leaders.
Yes. And those persons who voted for you are expecting you to be a leader. Leadership and authority are two different things. If you get drunk on one, you will not provide the other.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So,
Deep Thoughts with Chad.
I think we plan on being here next week. It is the day before Christmas, so I'm going to take item 1, which is the Christmas spirit.
We're
And
gonna
we'll
move
talk
it to
about
next
that
week.
to next week because that's right before Christmas. So, Andy, checking the calendar real quick to see if he's available or if he's got any plans going on. So, what's in the Kansan?
What's in the Kansan?
What's in the Kansan? Let's go right into it. What
What's
has
in the
been in the
Kansan?
Kansan, or what's coming up in the Kansan
the
that you'd
December
like to talk
18th
about?
meeting was in the Kansan a couple times, and once incorrectly. Crap happens, but it's December 18th. There's going to be a meeting with Fred Van Rankin, give it a presentation about the upcoming bond issue. And my hope is that people will walk in with an open mind and just listen.
And that'll be digitized too, Chad.
And then make your decision after you've heard. Right? I mean, I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm telling you, go make a decision and make it an informed one.
Well, I'm going to be real. This whole thing's kind of pissing me off. And I'm probably not going to make any friends through this here. But I'm sick and tired of individuals of a certain age. Okay, so we'll call that a demographic plus a certain age, who no longer have children in the school system, who may or may not have grandchildren in the school system. I'm guessing probably not, because then there's no personalization to what's going on here. But they were perfectly fine and dandy with everybody paying into the system at that time, 1976 or whenever the high school was built.
You're talking about people that refer to the high school as the new high school.
Yeah, they really, really loved, and they believed, and they were entitled to everybody to pay for taxes so that way their kids could go to school and have an education. But now that they don't have any kids in school and they don't have any grandkids or no personalization to it, well then, let's slam the door right behind us. We don't need that. We don't work. I'm not going to pay an extra $6 on my $100,000. It's insane. It's insane, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. Whether you want to be for the bond and you think that the bond is something that is needed, or that they're spending the finances the way they should, they're being fiscally responsible, then go dig in. But this thing that I'm seeing circulate consistently are people that have very little understanding about what's going on. They don't have any skin in the game. They don't think. It goes back to this. I don't want for the city to pay for your road to be paved. But by God, that road out in front of my house better be paved. I don't want to have to pay for police and fire because, well, I haven't had to call the police or the fire or the ambulance, so why should I have to pay for it? I think this is ridiculous. Except for when you need them there, then all of a sudden we want a fire department. Then all of a sudden, it's such a selfish way to look at it. Is there nothing that people do today that focus in on the public good of our society and community and say, I will not buy one Starbucks coffee this month, just one, maybe
you
two.
Can't get Starbucks for $6, but that's
maybe two. Okay,
no,
so you're actually.
I'm going to ask you.
Come on.
I'm going to ask you a question.
I'm sorry, folks, but come on.
Because we know how Lance feels on this.
Fired
one,
up.
right?
I'm fired up,
Right.
trying to get them algorithms
So I'm going to ask you how you feel about another story that's going to be popping up on Thursday.
Here we go. I'm already in a mood.
Yeah.
You're just trying to piss me off.
Is this
Chad.
front page?
This is front page.
Oh, God.
Okay.
So, who do you believe should be paying to keep our driver's license station open and our vehicle department open at the county courthouse? Is that something that should be dealt with by taxpayers, or should it be supported by user fees?
I think it should be paid for by taxpayers.
Our new treasurer, Amy Perkins, is proposing moves that will make it paid for by fees.
What is the difference? What's the breakdown?
Here's what it is.
Are we allowed to get into all that with what you're releasing without giving up your whole front page?
Real quick, I'm going to see if I can't just put my eye on this. Okay. It goes back to the fact that if you have everybody in the county paying in monies to the county, and then the county is designated money to be able to keep our driver's license department open the way that it is. That everybody is paying into that. So it might be you're paying 2 cents, Chad's paying 2 cents, I'm paying 2 cents. But then, because you go into the user, right, now you're pulling from a much smaller group of people, and then those individuals are going to have to pay more for the usage of it, because it's one of those things. Well, it just goes back to what I just said, Chad. Okay.
So here's the breakdown.
I don't use it, so I don't want to have to pay for it. We should have just the users pay for it.
Here's the breakdown that Mr. Ortiz asked for. Yeah. So currently, the driver's license office is operating at a deficit of about $76,000 per year.
It's a service.
It's about what, an employee and a half?
Deficit. It's all a deficit.
And they're currently charging a $5 fee. Okay, and they, for a while, they were trying to charge people who lived outside of the county one fee, and the people who live in the county another fee, and the state turned around and says you can't do that. So now it's just a flat $5 fee. Okay, so anything you need.
So state is mandating some strings behind the scenes here.
Yeah. You can't charge somebody from Marion County more than...
So they've been charging a $5 fee. You need your, renewal, $5. You need to get a new license, $5. They cannot do CDLs yet, but that's coming. She's trying to expand the services provided. Now, there is a reason for all of this, and it, in my opinion, is a good one. But they currently have that $5 fee. If they were to double that fee to $10, according to Ms. Perkins, that would generate somewhere around $75,000 a year. They're operating at a $76,000 deficit.
So almost neutral.
Almost neutral. And the same can be said about... starting the first of the year, most likely, there's going to be a $2.50 fee for those who use the vehicle office. So if you want to... For years, we've all received in the mail, our renewal notices, and there's been the option of going online and doing it through the state office. And the way that works is you pay everything, and you prove your insurance, and yada, 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 and you... whatever. And then they turn around and they contact our local office and say, Chad just paid, you need to send him his stickers. That's how that works. The state is charged a $2.50 fee to do it online. So it's not any cheaper to do it that way. It's just more convenient. And it's a convenience fee.
Convenience fee, yeah, for sure.
But the fee she's talking about is only for those persons who actually physically walk into that office. Chad's kid finally finds himself a project truck. We got to go do the registration. We walk in, $2.50 fee.
So is this what Amy ran on? I don't remember hearing anything about this in her campaign speech.
What she is trying to do...
If I get elected, I'm going to double the amount of fees that you pay, and I'm going to also include another fee on top of something. I'm not sure that would have really resonated with the electorate.
But she's trying to reduce the tax burden of her office. But it's all the tax.
I don't care what you call it. If you're charging me a fee that's doubling... Now, granted, we're talking about $5.
The other thing that's going on here... And I don't think I hinted
kind of
around at it.
Words, don't you guys think? I mean, if I'm having to pay more money when in a fee to a government entity, well, what are taxes? They're fees to the government entity to pay for services provided. Am I wrong?
From what I've heard so far, and just that little bit, I mean, for me personally, I think it's good to look and kick tires and check those things out and make those conversations happen, because we need to figure out ways to reduce cost inside these departments.
Yes.
And so if that almost makes it neutral, I think that's a real serious look at something.
Okay, but let me challenge you guys. Okay, are you actually reducing anything?
No, you're just passing it on in a different way, the increase in a different way, but that's done in so many different ways.
Still going to get paid out, but
it doesn't leave the system, right? Cost doesn't leave the system. And so for tax purposes or these individual departments that help us run and live our everyday lives, that, you know, some of these things are tied to even the federal government with regulations and insurances and things that we have to have, and we have to have proof at our level to be able to get into those systems, right? And so at a local level, if the state's not going to kick in, which is still taxes, right? But if the state's not going to kick in to help neutralize you're right. That's one of the hard things it was for me to learn is it's not 100% a business, but you want to neutralize it to the best of your ability, in my opinion, expenses that come out. And so if that's something she's doing to say, hey, here's an option, I mean, I think that's good. I haven't heard anybody get creative like that yet in this area.
Well, and
I'll be quick on it too. How many of these
I'm
people,
tell
I'd
you
like
why,
a breakdown to know how many people actually come from other counties to our service.
Well, at one time it was pretty significant.
So if
I don't
that's the
know if
case,
it's still
which is why they probably wanted to raise the fees, because the numbers made sense to look at that.
Because you can sit in Wichita all flipping day, or you can make an appointment and come up to Newton and get it done.
It's kind of like the difference of having
and if we could have got the convenience fee, we were willing to get it off of them to help us.
Correct.
And it didn't work because the state
There's
said
something else at play here, though. And it's the politics of the thing. There's always that.
Is it a tax politics, or is it a DNR kind of politics?
It's just politics. I've heard the statements made. Okay? So when Amy said this to me on the phone, she's like, I've heard this. I'm like, yeah, you have, because I've heard it too. I've heard county commissioners. Now, I'm going to quantify that and say that I have not actually heard with my own 2 ears any of our current county commissioners make this statement. But, sorry, folks, I've been around a while. I have heard county commissioners make this statement. There is no state requirement that we have a driver's license station in Harvey County.
We don't have to have one.
And there is no funding that will ever come from the state for us to have one. Oh, and by the way, we're paying how much to keep that open?
Right. That's the question.
And do we want to continue to levy a mill or so that we can continue to do these things?
I've heard that.
You've heard it too?
I've heard it.
Yes.
So what are we willing to pay for convenience?
Right, exactly.
And not having to wait half a day.
Exactly.
What are we willing to pay for services?
What Amy's doing here, quite honestly, is she's taking that conversation away. If she can get either one of these things to a break-even point,
yeah,
she's taking that conversation away. And what's she doing? This I did quote her on. She's saving some jobs.
She's neutralizing. That exactly what I said. As an operator, when you said we're running about 76 over, my thing was, what is that, a job and a half?
Yeah.
My natural instincts, because that's the reality of a cut. Where are the jobs? Because that's where you cut. You don't cut less concrete for the sidewalks. You cut the person who pours the concrete for the sidewalk. So we have to know that when we're talking about cuts and deficiencies and when things are going out too far. If you keep spending too far, eventually you're going to have to come back on that. And what happens is you come back with your people first. People cut people first. And that's sad, but it's the reality of operations. So just FYI to all those people out there who don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, it's the reality of the business I've been in for some 30 years.
That's right.
You know, there's a guy by the name of Jeremiah Artez that did a photo book and gallery / exhibit of newspapers in Kansas. He stopped by our office and I spent an afternoon with him, and he asked me to write what he called a dispatch, some 700 some words about what it's like to still be in this business. And his words would tell your survivor story. Well, within that statement, I wrote the cuts came to the newsrooms first, and they always do. The cuts came to people first, because they always do.
So one of the coolest things I get to do, and to take it out of the government context, move it into the private world, is I'm working with a buddy of mine on building a new system, right? And the system the reason it's so attractive to people in my circle that we will eventually bring to the table to help us, do a whole bunch of these systems, is the people. With AI and everything changing and other businesses that I'm involved with and how things look on the backside, it's getting really scary. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago with having hard conversations with people that have worked for organizations for 30 years because their jobs aren't needed anymore, because we have tools now that will replicate that job in minutes, what takes weeks to do. This system in particular is all being built around the minimal amount of people possible to extract the most amount of capital possible, right? And when you're looking at the world that way, it looks harsh to some people, because what I worry about, Chad, we talked, I think, last week about what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
It becomes, that echoes in my mind when you said that, and the feeling, because we know each other outside of this stuff, right? And that's an important question we need to be asking each other as we steward our kids forward, is what are we gonna do? What are we gonna create? Because in the private sector, we're looking at things right now with not people-centric. I mean, people are important. We're going to have a few of them, and we're going to love on them heavy, but we're not looking to build big teams like we were before.
Yeah.
And it's just a crazy mind shift. And this is within the last few years for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Chad, what else?
I think government goes the same way, by the way, soon.
Oh,
just
yeah.
FYI.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of jobs are up for
It's going to start getting tossed around.
Yeah.
The tables will be flipped. I'd give it 2 or 3 more years before I would really be looking at the jobs you do and how you can reposition yourself in the marketplace, because we have to streamline
the difficulty
our systems.
is the level of disruption they're talking about. There's not going to be a job for,
half.
Yeah.
Half.
And our economy will not be able to sustain that.
The socialism aspect will be something real that so many people accept because of that, because you're going to have to live. And that's the scary part for me as a capitalist.
But then doesn't that get into, and so we don't get too far into the weeds here, doesn't that get into a standardized wage first and foremost?
It's scary.
And then an increase in taxes on the most wealthy, or the most wealthy corporations, that instead of paying a wage to Andy, Chad, and Lance to do a job, if AI can rule that out and there's an overhead that then they receive, or increase in revenue they receive based upon that, then does that just turn around into a tax to support individuals?
Yeah, they're already
that can't do
demonizing
it?
successful people, right?
Yeah.
And you can come from like where I came from and end up doing well for yourself and be a bad person that just got everything given to them, not even understanding the story or walk someone's gone through to earn wherever they are at in this beautiful country we have. But I do think the future looks bright, and our kids are going to figure it out, and they're going to create more than we could have ever imagined, because they thought a lot of this stuff about the internet too.
Yeah.
And what that ended up doing is even creating more opportunity for more people to distribute even more wealth and success. And I believe if we have the right attitudes and we just keep plowing forward and not losing the value of what it means to somebody as they work and build something to that person every single day, when they get to relax on that one day a week, when you get to have your rest time, for those of us that try to do that, our kids will figure it out. I believe that. I believe this is going to provide more opportunity, and I can't see it right now, so I'm nervous and scared.
They grew up in a
but I
different
also
world.
didn't see my business 18 years ago where we're at today and know how I was going to get here, because I couldn't have planned it.
Yeah.
I just had to take massive action and do the best I could and keep the best people I could around me to help me forward, and I've been blessed in that. And I think our kids will do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just for the technical people and the people that want to know. Now, personality like mine, bring it on, right?
Yeah.
But there's some personalities that aren't wired like that, and they're important too, because those people are important to me. Without those people, I don't do what I do.
Yeah.
It's a one hand washes the other, and I would just hate to have that personality right now, to have to know how it's all going to work out, because man, I'm sitting in some rooms and meetings going, oh my gosh, people have no idea the wave that's coming.
Yeah.
But I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I believe in America.
Yeah. Well, our younger generations have a completely different worldview than what we have, and we have a completely different worldview than what our parents had, and then our parents had a completely different worldview from their parents, and it just gets faster and faster. Chad, what else is in the Kansan? We might not cover anything but local stuff today. There is one national topic we got to cover.
Yeah. Actually, the last thing that I had in my head, well, I have two things in my head. One that's like 2 seconds. Last thing of substance I had in my head driving out here today is I listened to Chad Gay at the county commission meeting yesterday, and I can't remember the last time I heard a sheriff say we have no federal inmates in our detention center.
Since we built it.
0.
Yeah.
And there's a reason they're at 0, and you know, and the reason they're at 0 at this time. But financially speaking, I'm not sure the county wants to stay that way. I think we kind of need that revenue that is generated with federal inmates. And we didn't get to 0 overnight. It's really kind of a death by 1,000 paper cuts. And I know you talked about that with Chad today.
Yeah,
I don't
we have an update coming out.
Yeah,
today.
I haven't seen that, or I actually wanted to try and listen in, and toyed with the idea of getting here early, but I'm glad I didn't, because you didn't do it here. But no, it's yeah, we've been building to this point. And now we have to, in my opinion, we have to start asking how we fix that. Chad's got one idea. I predict it will not be overly popular.
Yeah. Okay. And this will be interesting because, I want to wait for that. I don't want to spoil any surprises on that update because it's going to come out. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because it'll come out before this program comes out. But after the conversation with him today, and a Reader's Digest version is such that when we built the facility, we had a contract shortly thereafter with the federal government in order to house inmates for court or other things that they thought necessary. The most recent reimbursement rate for a federal inmate from the government to the county was around $85-90.
$85 a day.
Okay, so with that being said, what the other municipalities within Harvey County pay for an inmate to be in the Harvey County Detention Center is $25. So
and the cost is $75.
Yeah, so there's so when you're looking at it, one is a loss per se, the other one is not a loss, but actually adds to the coffers if you want to look at it that way. So what's happened is over time, there was two things that he had mentioned. Most recently, it had to do with a medical contract that they were trying to have that they hadn't got through because they changed up who was to provide medical care, or the contract to provide medical care for those that are being housed in the facility didn't set well with the federal government because they wanted that to be a stopgap in place as part of the contract that they want listed. And the other one is that the aging infrastructure of our jail was just one that just was what they would consider, I mean, I would hate to say it, but what the federal government would consider not up to par for services to be provided to the inmates or the individuals that were awaiting trial.
And this is not news to anybody, or it shouldn't be, because the commission has had multiple conversations about it. They've actually had architects and engineers evaluate the jail and make suggestions on what to fix, how to fix it, and estimate the cost. We're talking $8 or $9 million at the bottom side.
It's the bottom side.
We're talking 20 to 30 at the top side. And all of this was known. It was even known before they began renovating the building on Pine Street.
Yeah. And then not only that, something interesting is that, and I've heard this stated before, generally speaking, the sheriff budgets about $700,000 in revenue for the federal inmates. So if you're looking at now, we're not getting any. So that's a $750,000 deficit in the budget that was projected from monies that would have been made for these federal inmates. So next year, the plan is to budget half that. But if we do nothing with our detention center, we're going to wind up in a way where nothing changes and they're not going to want. And so they're going and they're contracting with a newer facility, and I believe it's Sumner County. So the baby hasn't been thrown out with the bathwater yet, but something I want people to understand is there's always more to the ingredients that bake the cake than meet the eye.
Yeah, I mean, the jail is expensive.
Yes. But if you got $750,000...
He threw a couple numbers out this week that I went, really? 1 month, $1,800 for toilet paper. Now that goes poop. Yeah, it is.
That doesn't include water and sewer.
Water,
I don't know if they necessarily
sewer bill for the same month, more than $5,000. I love to complain about my city bill, but man, it ain't $5,000 a month.
How about them? We're talking basic necessities: toilet paper, a way to go and use the facilities to go to the bathroom or take a shower, and then from there you talk about food. They've got to budget and contract that. They've got to feed people. I mean, if that's the only basic necessities you're providing for individuals, I mean, to keep them in a sustainable temperature, right? I mean, I don't know. Some might say they don't deserve any of that, but I mean, we're not going to get any federal inmate contracts.
They are humans.
Yeah.
And should be afforded absolute basic human rights. They are humans. Seriously. Are there murderers in there? Yeah. Have I sat in a room with murderers? Yeah. Have I talked to murderers? Yeah. You know what? They're people. They're huhuman beings.
You're a human being unless you're a child molester.
Yeah, and then I was going to say, we just had somebody
that dog kick all day long.
63-year-old
I'm just saying.
Has been found guilty and now will be sentenced by Judge Lamas here soon.
Yep, he faces up to he could get a life sentence. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Which kids?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hang them by his nuts.
Yeah.
That's on the front page Thursday.
And then some.
Yeah.
Should be going online within the hour.
Just so you know, I hate child molesters.
You and me both.
I hadn't figured that out about you.
I used the word hate, by the way, and I mean that one.
Yeah, I hadn't figured that out.
Hate is a real bad word, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like really bad.
Yeah.
Like one of the worst words.
Yeah.
So you mean it in the most detestable way you could humanly possibly describe how you feel about
I'm thinking about being like a hunter of those bastards.
Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that on this program. Every damn program we just go down.
Hunter.
Yeah, alleged hunter.
Hey, I dressed in drag.
Just get it out there.
Serenaded Steve Johnson with the Sixpence None the Richer Kiss Me song. And I did that to support an organization that does everything in their power to bring down those child molesters.
Right. Need to figure it out.
Every program, what are you willing to do?
Program,
I'm just saying.
Our algorithms get tanked. I don't know. Okay. So anyway.
Child attracted. Maybe they went back up.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, it wasn't very long ago, believe it or not.
That pisses me off.
Hey, believe it or not.
Okay.
It wasn't very long ago that those people in that situation that made those choices, when they went to prison, they were not treated very kindly. Let's just say that. And they actually changed laws, Andy,
I know,
that said that if you are somebody that is choosing to attack, hurt, harm, whatever the case may be, somebody who's convicted of that type of crime while incarcerated, then you yourself could be prosecuted for a hate crime. And you go to other states where in this state, okay, you're looking at some severe consequences for those choices. You go to California, not so much.
Wouldn't it be cool to have like a fund where we can hook those people up?
We can't stop it. We have to stop. Okay, moving on.
We have to move on.
Moving on. Okay.
We have to move on.
So we are getting long.
Commissary
in the program.
fund.
Okay, we're getting long in the program. That puts you to sleep forever. That puts you to sleep forever. It's the candy bar that lasts. Okay, So I was going to keep this for my final word, but just to put a little light note on here, I was thinking about something. I'm always trying to solve the world's problems. Okay?
No.
Yes, and I thought, there's so many people that have road rage. Okay, and I don't understand it. Okay, I don't understand, but so many people have road rage. And I gotta get this into a minute. Here. But I have discovered and believe, without a shadow of a doubt, I think it can be studied, that the best way to cure road rage is called road meditation. Okay, if you find yourself raging on the road, all you have to do is close your eyes, breathe in for 10 seconds through your nose, and breathe out 10 seconds through your mouth 3 times, and that road rage will go away.
I'm going to tell you a story.
I love it. I'm so original. You know?
Thanks to the Burlington Northern Santa Fe, I was given a wonderful teaching moment for my son in this sort of realm. And we were on our way to school, and the train was not moving. And it was across First, Main, Broadway, and it was headed towards Spencer. But by the time I got to Main, I'm like, I am not going to go running out to Spencer. We're going to sit and wait. And I ended up first in line at the intersection of Main and 6th. And as I was sitting there with my 7th grade son, from behind me I hear and I see, because I'm not moving, right? I don't see the point. Okay? If I pull forward that 15, 20 feet, we're going to end up blocking an intersection. And folks, I don't care that there's a train. Blocking an intersection, not a good idea. So there's no point. I'm just going to sit there.
Yeah, but Chad, you could have been 20 feet.
I
closer,
know.
Right? So
you know, I gave him one of these. I'm like, I ain't moving. There's no point. I'm like pointing at the train. What are we doing here? Then it goes turn signal, pulls out around me, scoots forward that 20 feet.
They got there just 20 seconds before.
They got that, okay? But here's the thing. The moment that it became a wonderful teaching moment for my son, who is going to be a driver someday, is he had the realizations. When we got to First Street, it was time to turn left. And he's like, Dad, isn't that the car that thought it was so important to pull out around you? And then, yep, we've been on their bumper for the entire way, right? Yep. Did they save any time? Nope. And I looked at my son and I said, which driver do you want to be? Do you want to be that one or this one?
You know what I do when people honk at me
good,
like that?
Good teacher moment.
Yeah.
When people honk at me because they're mad at me, I just wave and smile.
Now, I'm not above giving somebody the bird if I think they deserve it.
You know me, right?
I mean,
I thought you were honking at me because you knew me. Hey, and then another thing I do is if somebody's riding my ass, you know what I do? I just slow down farther and farther and farther, and then just be like, go around me. Go around me. I'm in no hurry.
And I'm telling you what, man.
I make people mad when
Newton drivers, y'all been murder in the school zones lately. Okay?
And one school zone you can thank for yours truly.
And by the way,
from 2019.
Just so you know, the PD has been hammering downtown. And that is not an accident.
Everybody's in a hurry.
Well, we're trying to clean things up because
holiday season
we got some really impatient drivers out there.
Everybody's angry.
How much do you think is mental health leading all this?
I think
you know what? I was in the sauna this morning, and this conversation was happening in the sauna about drivers and people being impatient, and they were talking about mental health, and I was like, this is so interesting. Like literally this morning, I'm at 7 o'clock in the morning sitting there listening to a group of people when I walked in talking about this topic.
I gotta say, wise man once told me, I don't want to live in a city any bigger than the size of Newton. Generally speaking, is about the largest I want to be. And the reason I don't want to live in a city, and I try to stay out of cities, is because in a city, everybody's competing with one another. They're competing for that parking space. They're competing for that not to have to wait in line at the store. They're competing for everybody's in competition for the same thing. And it does something to people, right? Like you, whoever you are, the infamous you, the infamous they, are always
The thems.
Everybody but me. Everybody but me is preventing me from being able to do what I need to do, how quickly I need to do it, how I want to do it, how I think I want to do it, how I think it should be done. And I do think it comes down to mental health. I think we as a society are progressively spiraling out of control when it comes to anger. And I think anger goes back to fear. So basically what we have in our society is a large swath of people that have been programmed, especially today, through algorithms, through news organizations, whatever it is, that we're constantly bombarded with this stuff. And even though people don't recognize it as fear, it is fear. And then because we don't want to be victims or whatever the case may be, then all of a sudden we project anger or whatever that is. I mean, it's very sad.
An exercise that I do
It's very sad.
is most people have Instagram our age, right? Most. Or some sort of media like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say Instagram in particular. You want to know who you are and know what pisses you off and know what triggers you or know what you're focusing on and why you see the world the way you do. It's not the they and the thems. It's not the those and the theys. It's not the other people, whatever that is. It's you. It's in the mirror.
Drinking poison.
And when you click that little icon and you look at your feed, that is what you're putting in you. Mm-hmm. In and out. That algorithm is created by you.
Dude, you're taking me back to 1985. Garbage in, garbage out.
It's so true. And this is just a vehicle to understand the coolest thing, though. And if you don't believe me, do me a favor. Type in your search engine, Shamrock Car Wash. And then click it.
It'll make you feel good.
Then type in Donald Trump. Then click it. Then type in Harvey County Talk. Then click it. And then for fun, type in USD 373 and click it. And then check it out, close the app, and go back in and watch what happens. You are driving your own narrative. Mm-hmm. That's the hardest part for each, including myself. My fingers looking in the mirror, right? I'm pointing back at myself, is to really take responsibility for what you are putting in. The coolest thing is you can change it.
Yeah.
But you have to start with recognizing where you're at.
But doesn't that go for everything, Andy? I mean, we're not going to get to the things, but like think about food intake.
So I sent you guys a link earlier this morning. Am I okay watching Success Juice?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
But I tell you, we are consumers. I said this 2 years on a podcast. We live in a hyper consumerist nation, and so everything about anything you see is trying to sell you whatever it is they can sell you in order for you to consume.
That's right.
They want your dollar. They're going to tell you whatever they got. People will tell you whatever it is that they have to tell you to get whatever it is that they want to get from you. And I don't operate like that. And so when you're somebody that doesn't operate that way, I almost look out and I just ask, what is wrong with our society? Because it's getting to the point where it's not recognizable anymore from...
We are at our most myopic point in history.
Myopic, and that's why we call this an educated program. People look up myopic, what that means.
I'll be looking it
up. Okay, so we got about 10 more minutes on the program, so...
Can we slam dunk something on there?
Yeah, we're going to slam dunk something. I just want to
get something on there up.
One national topic that I wanted to talk about was I wanted to bring about the understanding that, well, you know what, I'll do this, and we'll just go to your national topic. Well, okay.
You can do yours.
Assault on faith. Oof. You know, we there was something that was recently put out by Kansan, Cake, and KWCH, and they said Wichita Police Department is stepping up security across the city of Wichita for these places that are doing Hanukkah. Okay, and because of what happened in Australia, and it got my thinking juices going, and I thought, you know, I wonder if this same type of response takes place for other faiths. And then I started doing some digging, and it was like, is this specific to the Jewish faith, right? Is it only synagogues that are being attacked? Well, no, that's not the case. I mean, if you look at it, Christian churches and schools have been attacked. Okay, so I start piecing this all together, and I don't want to say anything offensive to anybody, but is one race or religion of people hold more precedence and protection than others? And I just started thinking about all of these things that have come about, and assaults on faiths and assault. I mean, look at the Charlie Kirk situation, okay? You took what would, looking back, be deemed as a very young, inspirational, political, religious, ideological leader, and he was assassinated. Okay, with that being said, there's how many churches have been under fire, how many synagogues? I mean, I guess what I should just go this direction. It doesn't matter what somebody's faith is. You know, there's faith on faith confrontations, right? You got the Sunnis and the Shiites killing each other. You got, I mean, it's there. It just becomes a mechanism in which people will try to kill, harm, hurt somebody that doesn't believe like them, politically, ideologically, religiously. And I'm just kind of on the run here because I was going to take a different approach to this.
What faith refuses to assimilate to any other society other than their own? That's a question I would put on the table. And that's important, right? Because there's faiths that believe, in one in particular, of the group of guys who shot up all those Jews recently, is that everybody needs to be that faith. If not, you need to put them down. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And if you don't assimilate, like in America, there's a lot of different people that even take Christian faith and chop it up and distribute it differently and believe differently. But we assimilate to the American way of life.
And an individual, let's just go take it from their perspective. Assimilation is the great cancer. And it's the great cancer because assimilating or being tolerant for whatever the purpose is viewed in a way that then becomes an assault on their faith.
So then don't come to America where we accept everybody and we assimilate and try to help our women succeed and love that our women go to sports and we get to watch them play basketball and be strong, independent people and bring their ideas to the table and vote and drive and all the cool things that we all get to do here.
And I'm taking it from this approach. Okay, I'm taking it from this approach here. Not that I believe this.
Yeah, no, I see what you're doing.
But we're sitting here in a nation that we profess to be better with 60% divorce rates, and 80% of those divorces are initiated by women.
And that's the attack on the Christian faith. That's a whole nother layer.
The difficulty is that there are very few who understand the concept, live in the world, but do not be of it. And those persons who do not understand that concept, they're the ones that are always looking to change everybody else.
Yeah, I want to change the world around me rather than
y'all need to be like me.
Change myself in the world that I am in.
You know, y'all need to be like me. And you know, I didn't create that phrase, but I've been hearing that phrase in my faith circle for 55 years. And if you want an example, take a look at the Amish. You can't get any more being in the world, but not of the world. Sticking to your religious principles, and quite honestly, not giving a shit about anybody else.
I got a question for you, Chad.
As long as you don't step on them, they just do not care. And even if you do step on them, they're pacifists.
And not to change the subject, but I was interested. What kind of a connection is there between the Mennonite Mafia and the Amish Mafia?
I saw a show on that. That's pretty deep.
It's deep. It's
Just
way
remember,
deep.
we're called the management. So when you don't see it anymore because the municipalities
there's some
took
pretty
care of it.
hardcore gangster Mennonites in Mexico
Hell yeah, there is.
that fly under that flag that are really part of the streets.
Yeah.
It's been dug up and it's real. And
I'm telling you.
yeah, that's a whole nother deal.
Okay.
They're pretty hardcore. Just
Yes.
saying.
And I don't. We got 5 to 10 minutes, Andy. You got a national topic you wanted to talk about this week?
Candice Owens. Ooh, I stopped clicking on her stuff because I didn't like my feeds. Like 3 weeks ago.
She's getting grouped in
Yeah, I mean, and they're
with
it's-
like anti-Semitic,
Yeah, she's getting that little group of people who's attacking and how dare you question everything, and she's a little much sometimes, and to the point where I stopped clicking on her stuff because I'm just okay. It's the same thing. I know what you're saying for the most part. I don't want to hear that again, and I control my algorithms because I do what I just said earlier. I look and go, what's feeding me, and why am I doing this right now, and is that worth my time? And it's almost always no.
There's quite a few people that's Candice Owens is the hot button right now,
Yeah.
which is interesting because she's a black female,
Right,
but
conservative black female.
But Nick Fuentes, I think is how you say his last name, Tucker Carlson.
He's making some points. He's extreme for a reason, but he's bringing in some points that making people think.
But where are we at with this whole situation where you're not allowed to ask questions?
Oh yeah, well this is the whole deal, right? So finally, her and Erika Kirk met, not yesterday, the day before,
I didn't know that.
and that meeting went well. They both shared stuff with each other that the other one didn't know, but Candice feels like they're in the right direction.
Okay, so there might actually be some seeing that because I was going to say, okay, this might be a good time for me to say this. Okay,
Communication's important, especially when you're going through stress.
Yes, and I'm not bashing a widow at all or anything, but I watched something that was a short clip and it just really took me back, and it was Erika Kirk, no more than 24 hours after her husband was assassinated, with the heart of God in Christ, went out and forgave her husband's assassin. But did you see the hatred and the vitriol that she had when being questioned about what Candice Owens was saying? It was like, wait a second. So you're somebody that will go out professing the love of Christ and forgiveness for the person that just assassinated your husband. But by God, if you are somebody that dares to question the narrative, you need to stop.
Different type of hurt, different response.
And different timing in the grieving process too,
Yes.
right? Like there's a lot there, and I think I have a lot of opinions on this because one, I think it was emotional to make her the head of that company. I do not think that was a good move, other than people were emotional and making emotional decisions and freaking out, needed a leadership.
Always in the back room, not the PR person. Yeah.
Anyways, and so that's a whole nother deal, right? Because that's not like a mom and pop shop anymore. That's like a big organization with 600 employees, and that's a lot. For anybody that doesn't know, you run 32 people. That's a lot. In my little world of non being able to expand past that, right? Having 600, I mean, dude, that's huge. That's a huge operation.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have that. You have her emotional reactive state anyways. And then you have the fact that the media or whoever or wherever you're getting that information, how they parse it out to you is probably how you're going to take it, because my sister saw a lot of that narrative. Mm-hmm. And I've intentionally looked at other stuff. And then there's the middle ground where she honestly didn't say anything about Candice until a certain point, and people chopped up a little tiny piece into being what it's going to be. Coolest thing I thought out of all this is they actually met.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
brokered by a person that was trying to be neutral. There's actually 2 or 3 of them who have been trying to be pushed into one side or the other, and they did a really good job of not letting people do that to them. And they actually had a 4.5-hour meeting, and they walked away, and it sounds like things are in the right direction.
Well,
Per
and-
Candice
yes,
right now.
yes, yeah.
But I guarantee you, if I was going to that meeting, I would say, hey, I'm going to record this just so we both our memories serve us right, because there might be some moments here where we're going to get intense, and I want to make sure that I was articulating myself correctly and you were too. So for this purpose, I would like to just let you know I want to record the meeting. Would that be okay with you? And I would be assuming they were going to do it anyways. I would just ask and put it on the table.
Yeah.
And then we would have that conversation. I don't know if that happened, but I think it was better to do it the way they did it than go public live and all this stuff, because then you're just feeding that monster and not the real mission of what Erika honestly should want, which is true justice. And maybe Candice is onto some stuff that we just don't understand. And it sounded like after that meeting, she got some answers to things she needed to know, but she also revealed some things to Erika that Erika didn't know.
Yeah, and I think, and so I have to keep my eye open for this, because I think that's a wonderful thing to happen. I just
Huge.
top to bottom. Right?
This is a good example of how we can follow revelations and do
Yes.
things the right way.
Communication,
Yes.
the whole thing, right? I will say this, for the record, I would go on the record here to say, I'm so inclined to believe and not be a conspiracy minded person that, oh man, I don't even know how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. Can a 30-06 really do that little of damage? I mean, there have been people that have been testing that theory.
He was gone as soon as he got hit. I saw that. We were texting, actually, part of groups that we're a part of, that he had gotten shot. And I was here in this studio working, doing stuff on the other side there. And I looked and saw that, and I think you were on the text message when the first one that I shot out. That I've been around guns.
We
my
didn't
whole
believe
life.
it. We didn't believe it wasn't AI.
Yeah, he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, once you see that once, he was gone instantly. He did not. I mean, he was gone.
Yeah.
Once that hit, and for me, growing up around firearms, I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm decent. I knew as soon as I saw what happened, he was gone. So. Yeah, I think it was devastating. I think we saw the little bit we saw, but when you see that blood coming out, that's a pretty severe hit. That severed everything in his neck. I mean, he was gone. Lights out. That's the body reaction, the way he locked out. I mean, you're gone. That was it. So, and I think his pulse coming back just has to do with your body and your systems and your muscles and the way the nerves continue to communicate for a little while.
Yeah. All right, we're coming to the end of the program, folks. Sorry to end on such a cryptic note, but we have these conversations, so it is what it is. Next week, you can look forward to us having a Christmas special, I guess, if you want to call it that.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to be a part of that, dude.
You better dress up like Santa, Chad.
Be planes,
Santa
trains,
baby.
planes, trains, and automobiles. So
Will you let me sit on your lap and
Those
tell
aren't
Santa
pillows,
what
Andy.
I want for Christmas?
How about them bears?
Chad, we may. If you dress up like Santa, I may try to sit on your lap and tell you what I want for Christmas.
Oh,
I don't have a Santa suit, so I'm sorry.
Andy's going to be sending you one in the mail first class to make sure
There
you
you
get
go.
that before it's all. So, okay, so with that being said, final words, gentlemen, what do you got?
What do I got? Thank you, Shannon. Welcome to the Community Insiders program. The haircutting company is business number 2. I'm out there looking for number 3. Been having troubles finding number 3. Hopefully I'll get it someday. But yeah, check out the perks thing on the Kansan.com. It's pretty cool, and if you've got suggestions as to who number 3 can be, call me. Oh, and call them too. So there you go.
Fair enough. Shameless plug for the Kansan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Love it,
And
love it.
Shannon, Haircut Company.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
absolutely.
watching and being supportive and bringing your community in.
Yeah,
Love
she's
it.
been a supporter of our program, and if you watch till the end, that's the person that makes us.
She
look
is my
good.
daughter's favorite.
That's cool.
She makes me look good.
And you know,
That's
when
what
my
you
daughter decides it's time for
hair
her
look job,
haircut.
Shannon. Hard
my
job.
hair look good. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll go there.
when my daughter decides it's time for a haircut of any kind, she looks at me and says, "I want to go see Shannon." I'm like, okay.
I like Shannon. Andy?
Well, I'll be unplugging, and I won't be here next Wednesday. But I would say have a Merry Christmas. This is my favorite time of year, even though I do have things too, and I miss people in my life that I just had such a great childhood with my uncles and aunts who raised me, and my grandmother and grandfather who are both gone now, who I grew up with. I just have fond memories of this time of year with them, and I try to hold on to that. But there's some people that really struggle this time of year, so I would ask people out there in the audience, think of one person on your list that you can call and connect with, and just let them know that you thought about them and that you care about them, because there's so many people. I mean, a big chunk of us have a hard time this time of year, and it can go bad for any of us depending on what we're going through as individuals and as people. Chad, you brought up something the other day on your birthday that kind of touched my heart a little bit about your dad, and how he won't be here, and that's hard, right? Mm-hmm. And it's real. But then let's try to think about the things that they did give us when we did have those moments, and we do have memories. It's like the Christmas Story, that second one that came out, right? Where his dad's chair sitting there, and he remembers like he gets to sit in that chair now. And how do we carry his legacy forward? That's pretty powerful stuff, right? So just call somebody, please. One person, that's all we have to do. If all of us did that, it would help us a little bit too, but we would also probably bless somebody else. So just to let them know that people care about them. Yeah. They're out there, and they need our phone call.
Just so I've only told my mother this, so y'all privileged. But late last week, I saw a Facebook post, and I responded, and I found a woman and a family who just lost their mother, and mother was one of the breadwinners. And the concern she had for Christmas was not being able to put on a proper Christmas dinner for her kids. And so on Sunday, this week, I delivered a Christmas ham, some vegetable sides, some potatoes, even some dinner rolls that they can make in their oven. She was pretty much near tears on her porch. And I also gave a Christmas card. And inside the card, I wrote, "Losing someone is very difficult, and the holidays are hard when they come. I sincerely hope that this Christmas dinner you can turn into a family event, and that you can begin to concentrate on the people who are here." Because that was the struggle I had on my birthday, and that I had on Thanksgiving, and I know I'm going to have on Christmas Day. It's being with the people who are here.
Amen.
And I got to say, if you want to
So
hear
there
my
you go.
final word, if you want to know what my final word is, I defer to Chad. Rewind it. And everything Chad just said, that's my final word. Have a good one, everybody.
Merry Christmas.